You're probably sitting there wondering if another projector is going to end up as a pricey paperweight, right? You've seen the glossy ads, the cinema's eye screen in minutes promises, and the fear of spending a lot only to get a dim image that looks better on a TV. I get it, no one wants to throw money at something that won't actually fit the way they live or work. That's why I spent a good chunk of time digging into the specifics of Optoma's ZU500UST ultra-short throw laser multimedia projector before I even thought about hitting the record button. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest thing that sets the ZU500UST apart is the ultra-short throw design. Instead of needing a ceiling mount or a whole wall cleared out, this unit can sit just a foot or two from the wall and still throw a 100-inch image. For anyone living in an apartment or a home office where space is at a premium, that's a game changer. You basically get a massive screen without the gymnastics of long throw setups. I walked through a typical living room layout, a 10-foot wall, a couch a few feet away, and a couple of floor-standing lamps. With the projector placed on a low cabinet, I was able to pull a 120-inch picture that filled the wall from edge to edge while still leaving enough room to walk around. No need for a dedicated media room. The laser light source is another practical win. Unlike the traditional lamp-based projectors that need a bulb swap every couple of years, the ZU500UST's laser module is rated for upwards of 20,000 hours. In real life, that translates to a few years of regular weekend movie nights before you even think about maintenance. The consistency of brightness over time is something you can actually notice, the image stays vibrant, and there's no sudden dip after a few hundred hours that you sometimes see with older lamp models. Resolution is where the ZU500UST quietly outshines many of its price point competitors. It's a WUXGA device, delivering 1920x1200 pixels. That's a notch higher than the standard 1080p you see on most consumer projectors, giving you an extra 120 lines of vertical detail. For watching movies, the difference isn't always dramatic, but when you flip to productivity, say, having a spreadsheet or a multi-window coding environment projected, it becomes noticeable. Text stays crisp, and you can fit more rows on the screen without squinting. The Texas Instruments 0.65-inch DMD chip that powers it also means color fidelity is pretty solid, so you're not dealing with the washed-out look you sometimes get from cheaper chips. Now, the contrast ratio is advertised at 100:1. In a dimly lit room, that does give you deep blacks and a decent sense of depth in dark scenes. I tried a few thriller movies with the lights turned low, and the shadows held up nicely without turning into gray mush. However, the projector isn't a magic bullet for bright daytime viewing. If your room has large windows and you can't afford blackout curtains, the image will wash out, especially the darker details. That's a hidden trade-off many first-time buyers overlook. You still need to control ambient light to get the most out of the contrast and brightness. Audio is another area where the ZU500UST makes a pragmatic call. It ships with a modest built-in speaker, which is fine for a quick slide deck or a casual YouTube video, but it's nowhere near what you'd expect for a home theater experience. If you're planning on serious movie nights or immersive gaming sessions, you'll want to route the audio through an external sound system or a soundbar. The connectivity options are standard HDMI, USB, and a 3.5mm audio out, so wiring up a separate speaker isn't a hassle, but it does mean an extra piece of equipment to budget for. So, who should actually consider buying this projector? If you're a homeowner or renter who wants a big screen experience without drilling holes in the ceiling, this ultra-short throw design is perfect. It also appeals to remote workers or freelancers who need a large, high-resolution display for design work, data analysis, or coding. Think of it as a 30-inch monitor that can expand to a wall-sized canvas when you need it. Gamers will appreciate the low input lag that laser projectors generally provide, and the extra vertical resolution can give a slight edge in competitive titles where you need to see more of the UI. On the flip side, if you live in a sun-filled living room with no way to dim the space, the ZU500UST will struggle to deliver the punch you expect. Likewise, if HDR support or native 4K is a non-negotiable for you, this model won't meet the max resolution caps at WUXGA.